Good morning, Robert. How you doing this morning? Hopefully you're doing good. It looks like we got a gap up, and this is something that is known to happen during some kind of, potential short squeeze is gap ups above daily expected moves, and now we'll see if we can use them as support. Very, very good. Volatility did still jump up a step for the moment. We'll see if this has any basing out structure for some kind of pullback later on, but for now, I don't think it's too much to worry about as the 2 hour has not confirmed up. It does not seem like something to worry about. So I think at this point, we're just watching this go up and we're going to maintain it and see if we can keep going in the upward direction. It literally seems like that. Bull trap today, in my opinion. If it's a bull trap, I assume a more minor pullback would make more sense to me. Really just depends on this area, right? We can always do the thing where we fill the gaps, right? We gap up, we fill it, we see what happens. We gap up, we fill it, we see what happens. But that's why I'm interested if we open above or see a move above this line to use it as support now. For the daily expected moves. Daily expected moves for the day, 595.49 to the upside, 588.41 to the downside, 601.82 for your top side weekly expected move. Very important level. See, if you really look at this, like here, maybe a 30-minute pullback comes in, maybe, like a brief one, if we're going to remain in this direction. But if you end up here, that's when you can see that pullback. That's more where I would see it as a trap. We'll see if we can get there early on in the week in the next two trading, or actually since now apparently we have another shortened trading week. Great, awesome stuff. It might not, but we're not really seeing the sell-off signals. Now, one signal that could be a hint, little AR-15, is that volatility. I actually think the volatility could be a great hint, but you're talking about, potentially seeing, it depends on what you mean by trap. Trap for a pullback or trap as in, oh my gosh, trap, right? That's kind of more what I'm thinking is like, do you consider this a trap or do you consider all of this a trap? That's more what I'm thinking. I would more likely see this build up to this area and then set a trap, actually, more like this one where a bigger drop could happen. But that just might be a difference in our opinion. But I think if you're going to trap here, it's going to be brief. But we do have a signal for it, right? If volatility would come down, we trap a little bit higher and then turn up, well, hey, that 2 hour might get going. So we're still aware of how this thing can fall down, but it's at the exact moment where the dollar is starting to come off pretty dramatically, right? So we'll see if, well, that's a wick down, but we'll see if this can actually cross and kind of give some more validity or credibility to this overall move, right? Look at the daily wanting to confirm up. It just, literally, if this daily confirms up, how good does that yellow line look up there? I'm convinced unless the Fed says recession or raising rates, the market continues to go up. It'll most likely be the opposite of that. Most likely we will see a dramatic cutting of the rates if there is a problem out there. Just note, everything is fighting inflation, but nobody is considering recession right now, right? I mean, unless the Fed says recession or raises rates, it's like, what if they did both? That makes no sense. First of all, let's just get that out of the way. They're not going to say, hey, we're going into recession, so we need to raise rates, right? No, the deflation will happen with a recession. I just think people are paying too much attention to the kind of inflation that's remaining kind of stagnant, staying there. And I don't think they're paying attention to the fact that unemployment has gone up. I think we'll see more about this, and maybe you'll get a better answer, Robert, on Friday when we do get non-farm payrolls and unemployment. Same timeline as 2020. Well, 5-star, if you didn't know, a bunch of scientists came out and said exactly, they called it to the date, exactly on the 21st of January, we're going to see a bunch of these bird flus and other diseases come back. Which means, I don't know if they're scientists, but they might be magicians if they can call the exact day that people are going to cough all over each other. Don't we have jolts this week? I think that's the... Do we actually? I think we might. I remember reading that we do have jolts, but... Yeah, on Tuesday. So I marked off January 8th just because of the FOMC minutes, but you are correct to be definitely paying attention to January 7th with the JOLTS job opening. So that'll be our first little bit there. And then after that, I just really think Friday is where I'm going to be paying serious attention to non-farm payrolls and unemployment. if Short Fridays is in here, I actually looked into that. Thank you, janitor. If Short Fridays is here, we actually did look into that SEC rule for a second. Carlos is like, it's all planned. Yeah. I mean, if we're the ones making things be able to infect humans worse, then yeah, it's probably part of a plan. Some tinfoil hat stuff, you know. Need more tinfoil. Markets will top before recession starts. Exactly, and that's why I think we have time. Yeah, we don't have the topping signals that you would see at a top, so that just means you guys are correct, right? It might mean you guys are right thinking of these things. But just note that the topping signal for the SPY is this, right? So why would I get bearish here when we're about to do this? It just doesn't make a lot of sense there. Now, you could possibly get an opportunity that scares you that then turns back up, right? But we're looking for the actual topping signals. If this just crashed down from this would be one of the most unique tops actually in history. A blatant head and shoulders turns us down. Like, that just doesn't happen very often. Normally, if you're in a positive trend, you want to be looking for head and shoulders the other direction. Right? Because look at this. People are probably like, oh, yeah, this right here. You know, technical guys, they like to do that. They like to combine anything like this and be like, oh, yeah, we're going to make this shoulder right here and drop. I'm like, okay, well, we might double top. We might use this as resistance. We gapped into it, so we go, okay, that's over. Right? But yeah, you can't be convinced. You just got to look at what's actually, you know, you can pay attention to scenarios like we do, but whichever one's playing out in front of you, this one looks like it's playing out to be, hey, if this daily crosses up, where are we likely to get to? 611.03. From that point, what could we do if there's weakness? Because this is our 68% zone. This is 32. If we see that resistance come in, do we have a topping signal? Does that confirm? Yes, it does. Okay, this has all the lookings of a major top for some type of correction or maybe even a market crash. So that's what I'd be paying attention to. Notice the timing of it would probably lead up to January 20th. So right now we're just chilling. I tear my heart open. So let's see if we can keep squeezing. Let's hope so, DT. Did you look at AMD? I did check on AMD this morning because I said kind of in yesterday's video, it's like, if you look at SMH, you look at Nvidia, you're like, damn, that thing looks extremely bullish. It's closing at the high, looks like a gap up. You can do a lot with that. But for now, it's just this one right here, you really just had the higher low, right? And that's not going to show on the 2 hour very well. You're probably going to be negative here in some way. Nah, you're still pretty close to the center line though. Look at that. So a little divergence down here. All right, we pop, we go for the reload, and now we're off to, let's get down to business, right? So we'll see if we can get to this zone. But you have weekly expected moves if you're a part of Patreon, right? So you know how high up this is supposed to go. Just like the SPY we're trying to get here, well, you could have those for individual stocks. So you know, hey, where to possibly even take profit and leave some runners. Watch Wolf for 808. Yeah, I did take a look at Wolf. If anyone's trading this, I did make some ranges for this because this is what I'm testing. Is anyone doing Wolf? Do you guys want a range for that? Good morning, Orchid. How you doing? You guys want a range real quick? Okay, so the range for Wolf, since this is a speculative thing, we don't have this on our Patreon all the time, right? We don't have this on the Patreon all the time, but I do have some levels for you. Those levels would be, let me get this up here. I don't have it on there. 809 to the upside, 625 to the downside. That's the one I'm most interested in right now. And look at the daily. The daily's crossing up today. So this thing is crossing up on the daily right as it gets towards a crazy area. And if it can break through that, you might see an absolute squeeze. If these things are going to squeeze, is the entire market going to squeeze at this point? I mean, look at SMCI seeing a great move up. Probably about to curl up a daily and see an ABC, right? If we look at the daily scale, 2 hour actually giving maybe even divergence here. Yep, you got divergence. So all of these semiconductors are looking pretty damn good. Kind of wish I looked at SMCI, even though it's risky. But IWM starting to run into problems, right? You got to get past these levels for IWM. Looks like Palantir is the one suffering right now. Might need to back off. Interesting. What's the level for Palantir today? Or I mean this week. Yeah, you could go make a divergence or a higher low, more likely with how the 30 minutes positioned. It's not the highest up, but a little 30-minute pullback wouldn't be bad. Looks good. We like it. We love it. We want some more of it. Did you get that level for Wolf, Stock Cracker? I'll just try to remember it. Palantir got a downgrade. What do you think will happen in the near future? Paying attention to the signals. Looks like 30-minute pullback's what I'd see first if that crosses. The next thing would just be if that's able to curl up. It's still positive. 2 hour, wanting to go positive. Daily, still positive, right? Once that loads up, there you go, still positive. You've confirmed divergence, so it would make total sense to fall down here. So you have to really be paying attention. If the 30 crosses, that could be a little bit more than a pullback, right? We could go down and make a base down here, but right now the 30 minutes positive, so what I want to be paying attention to is the first thing, right? If the 30-minute crosses down and goes negative, that would mean the 2 hour might cross, and the 2 hour is very tight here. So it'd be very difficult to make this a double bottom, but we're still going to pay attention to those type of reactions. I might pull up an hourly chart. Hourly chart most likely is the best for this right now, just to be honest. Hourly chart probably looks the best, right? Right in between the 30-minute and the 2. And bam, that's what you're looking for. And if you're part of Patreon, you know where that weekly expected move is, and I can tell you it's somewhere down here. So that's why Patreon's a good thing, man. The only reason I don't tell you guys every level all the time is because people pay their hard-earned money for that. QQQ skyrocket to new all-time highs. That's what I'm thinking, right? We tried to call that out most of last week, that we were trapping and we were probably going to end up at new all-time highs for the SPY, maybe even the Qs. If the Qs make a new all-time high, I will more likely be leaning towards corrective move. Can we look at Netflix? Yeah, we haven't looked at Netflix in a little bit of time. Damn, look at that SMCI bar. Woo! Netflix, again, just kind of struggling here, but still holding the divergence points. Once you violate the divergence, you go, okay, I'm not looking for this to the bull side. Even if it does end up going up, it does not have good signals. But the 2 hour here, you can see it's a lot like Amazon and other stocks, where this kind of looks like the Qs. Remember, the Qs in the futures market had the lower move. So I wonder if I extend this out, if we're going to see that divergence actually hold, and you do get that to hold. Now, I don't do that very often, but I do think Netflix might be a late term opportunity, right? This might be late. Might be late, but it's still there possibly, right? We have not seen the confirmations for Netflix yet. Wolf now 8.5, not bad, not bad. Try to go a little higher there, Mr. Wolfie. AMC, I really wanted this to confirm the daily today. I thought that would have been a great sign. We're aware that this 30-minute can roll down. We're aware that this can turn down on the 2 hour, right? This can still turn down and go to lower levels. We do have 450, right? Which means that the weekly expected move is down towards maybe even 3 something, right? Yeah, it's crazy. And we did also add AVGO to the list, right? AVGO's on there. Cancel my family plan on Netflix yesterday. Nothing new or interesting on there anymore. Yeah, Short Fridays, I'm kind of the same. Also, Short Fridays, I looked into that SEC 13 F2 rule for you just to see what I thought. Now, one thing I would say about Netflix is whenever I see a show that's on Netflix that I really want to watch, I'll pay like $6 with ads to just like watch the show with my wife, and then we'll get rid of Netflix, because I always find myself clicking left, right, and I can't ever find something that I actually think is interesting on Netflix anymore. Me and my wife were talking about how fun it used to be to go to Blockbuster back in the day. God, I keep saying back in the day these days, and it's making me feel older. How many trades can you usually do per year? With my type of stuff, I usually see, I would say, on average, I would say 2 to 4 trades a month, possibly. I'd say that's probably the average range there, 2 to 4. Some bear markets, you'll see 2, 3 trades a week, right? And you'll probably see more than that, but it's just you'll only take 2 to 3 a week, right? That's why this, like think about this. There are tons of stocks with this. And then if you see this upward move and you make money on it, and then you're like, okay, let me look at something that hasn't reacted yet. Well, look at Netflix, right? It's starting to reject. Maybe it takes back that 5. You could get in late to Netflix, right? That could be 2 trades right there. Kind of crazy. Like, so my QQQ calls are up 200%. Right, I took end of the month QQQ calls, and guess what? I wanted to do this as my second position, right? You guys heard I sold this position. Where's my other position? It's up in these areas, right? So it's just I could sell that, find something that hasn't reacted yet, and then get into that if I wanted to. You know what I mean? Yeah, my thoughts. I kind of looked at that what was it, F13 or sorry 13F2 rule. And my thoughts with it was from my understanding. Obviously, that's just the you have to actually report your positions and show that you have the shares in your possession to actually fulfill your short selling. That's how I overall see it. And so if that just means that, well, then you're just getting more. What is it? Not visibility, not credibility, more transparency. Transparency, I think, is a great thing. You know, I'll never say that it's not a great thing to get some transparency about, hey, do you actually own the option, or do you actually own the shares that you're going to do it? Are you doing any illegal activity? Because short selling without having the shares is technically illegal. Are they borrowing? Like, what's going on? And that's the main way I want to read into it. Now, what the overall goal, I think, with that is it overall, to me, it seems like it might help excessive short selling, right? If they have to report that, then it might stop them from continuing those type of activities. But I think it's just like, hey, is short selling actually affecting stocks? If it is, well, let's try to figure it out, and this is a good step in that direction. Do I think that they will be shitting their pants about it? No, because we've already seen multiple times where plenty of hedge funds, plenty of banks, plenty of this, plenty of that have done hundreds of billions of dollars worth of illegal activity or been caught being just ignorant and losing people money in some ways by tens of billions, if not $100 billion, and they get fined $1, maybe $5 million bucks. Yeah, if I could make $100 billion or something like that, right? If I could do $100 billion worth of illegal activity and then end up only paying even $5 million, I'm pretty happy. Right? You got to think, what 10% of that would be 10 billion. 1% of that would be 1 billion. So is 5 million really a lot? No, it's probably 0.05%. So I think the SEC is a completely corrupt system at this point. Squeeze today. Yeah, there's one thing I do need to get rid of. It's just too risky, I think. Let me go. Yeah, I'm gonna hold fade. I think we're looking okay. So from here, this is actually really good though for the Qs. Really good for the SPY. You have gapped up above the daily expected move, which means one thing about tomorrow. Tomorrow, look at the direction we're in. See if this 30-minute can keep going. Then tomorrow, we might actually have a daily expected move up here. That's where you might tap it and then back off. So really the weekly is what we need to be looking at. Look at, are you way closer to the top side or are you way closer to the downside? Well, you're way closer to the top side, right? So you touch these usually about 3 out of the 4 weeks in the month. And okay, let's see if we can get there. Yeah, but I'm saying this, usually the first push, if you really look at the first pushes, they usually do this, right? If it's gonna squeeze, that usually does something crazy like that. Right, and look at this one, overbought, 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 overbought. You didn't even lose the 5-1. So I guess we could say if we keep the 5, we're still on the bullish trend there. But I just want you to notice how often we go positive, we go overbought for some period of time, where you kind of leak that a little bit higher, right? We were over in this area, you were overbought here, you still leaked out another, what, 1, 2, 3 points. So this is just starting to get overbought. So can we buy ourselves 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 points? That's what we'll see. Now, as far as timing to buy, I think that's fine to bring up, Suri. I think that's fine. Was that a, oh yeah, short Fridays, was that kind of a correct assessment? Is that kind of what you were thinking? I'm very skeptical to believe that these moves that are going to be like, yeah, the SEC or whoever's going to, the SEC is going to police it. I'm not a big person who has faith in the SEC at this point. Like, to have faith in the SEC at this point is just like, you know, almost the definition of insanity at this point. Like, hey, yeah, they're actually going to do something. Nope. Oh, yeah, they're actually going to do something. Nope. Oh, they're going to do something. Nope. And then I'm like, yeah, now they're going to do something. It just, you know, until they change, we'll see what happens. Do you only ever trade from daily timeframes and manage them in smaller timeframes, or do you also enter trades on the 2-hour or smaller timeframes? So I enter trades on daily, 2-hour, and 30-minute. Usually in bullish times, like when volatility is below 20, I am looking for bullish trades most of the time. I'm not trying to short this. I didn't try to short this. I found this bottom and I said upside. I found this behavior here and I said upside. Actually, I found one here and I said upside, and that's one I took profit, comes back down. Did I short the downturn? No. Right, so you'll see when it's very, very bullish, I won't short anything until I see major topping signals, and then I'll just buy some volatility. Right, but I'm looking for these setups. Since we are still in this channel, now we're at the bottom of the channel again. It's like I'm looking for this 30-minute divergence. Bam, 2-hour, big move. I didn't play this one because of the election. I thought we might reject, but I didn't have short positions. That's a key thing. My risk wasn't there. Then when I saw the next dip down, I go, well, we already picked the direction, so now I'm going to buy right in here. Bam, to the upside. Then we see some consolidation. Risk at a big event like the Fed talking, right, can cause some volatility. So what do? I just don't play anything here until I see a break. Even when that broke, it flushed very quickly. So I thought I could bounce at any time. So I did not take a short position here. I took a call here, and now I'm taking calls here. I hope that makes sense. Like, it's a very bullish daily trend. So I'm looking for bullish setups. If it's a negative trend, I'm looking for negative setups more, but I know that if volatility is higher, those bullish setups can be some big bounces, right? So I can play those for shorter periods of time if I want, right? It's like, I try to be like the definition of a trader to a T, right? I will trade back and forth as much as I can. Short Nvidia won't make a new high. I think you're very, very, very likely to make a new high here. Now, this has already made a new high, right, compared to the previous day. So this is already getting up there. This is where we'll look at, you know, weekly expected moves. All right. Are we even at a weekly expected move right now? I'm going to tell you that Nvidia most likely does go higher than this sometime this week. That's what the data says. It could back off today. I mean, look at that 30-minute. Now that thing is cooked, right? But let's look at the time where it's cooked right here. We were cooked right here, and you still went from 142.78 all the way to 146.78. So now you're cooked. But does it mean that you can't do some of these little moves to go a little bit higher? And then you would want to watch out maybe for a bigger pullback? If that's true, QQQ probably will. Exactly, and QQQ, I think you're very likely to get to a weekly expected move. QQQs is just, the Qs is where you'll pay attention for low or high, but I think you're still likely to get there. It just depends on what the structure looks like, but the SPY, we'll see how this behaves, because I think you're very likely to get to 611 and make a new all-time high here for the SPY. Oh yeah, let's look at coin. I did have some people on Patreon ask about coin and hood. I can put those type of ranges up. 30-minute divergence here, fan-freaking-tastic for coin. And one thing is you always want to be paying attention to Bitcoin, right? Pay attention to what Bitcoin does. 30-minute divergence here, fantastic. 2 hour, did we have it? Come on, give it to me. I haven't looked at the coin yet, but we're taking back my level, so that's great. So 2 hour had it too, and now you're probably going to see that daily curling up like today. All right, let's see how close it is today. So all of this is good. The positions were there to be taken. Now you're looking for that break to the upside. And then if you can make a weekly expected move, that's what we teach in the course too, right? If I don't make a weekly expected move for you, we give an easy way to do it in the course. And you can maybe see like, hey, the weekly expected move is right here. And then you see it go like this and you go, okay, that's where I maybe take some, my foot off the gas, right? Yeah, it's more just me talking about how I like to do things, right, Nicholas? I just talk about how I like to do things, how I think about things, and if you can learn from it and make a decision, you know, maybe learn how to make better decisions, that's good. But right now, it would be silly for me to say, like, yeah, stock market. Like, I see people that posted stock market crash videos last night. Stock market crash videos last night, right? That's just not the right thing to be telling people, to be honest. That is just like Jim Cramering people, right? You don't have any signals of a crash right here. If you start to make them, we will notify you, right? We'll be talking about it, but you just don't. Are we back at that? Look, Georgie, we've been in good news is good news and bad news is good news and any news, neutral news is good news for a while now. QQQ pullback, just pay attention to the daily expected move. You're above it. You start to lose that, things can change, but you just took back a very important level. You guys, look at the Qs. Do you think this level is important, this daily expected move? You continue to flush through it. You had the gap support in there, right? We used it as support then, actually for some time, and then we gapped above it, pretty important. We consolidated in there to head higher. Nice little breakout move there. Flush. You come up to it. This little zone in here still with that has some resistance, then you use it as resistance again, then you use it as resistance again, then you get above it. What do? You go below it, use it as resistance again. Like, it's a very important level and you just took it back, so don't ignore the fact that we could end up here very quickly. Like, up here is where I'll take my foot off the gas. Here is where I think we're more likely to see that pulling back. IWM and things like that, we'll see if it can get there. Our good old girl, Tina. One that I have to keep my eye on is Amazon. Amazon, I think, looked like a decent one. We'll see if that has any more upside. I do want to go pull up Amazon on my other charts real quick. Yeah, Amazon's still got some room there, so we'll see. I think you're likely to, you're not likely, right? The percentages are against it, but I think in this environment, you can see something crazy this week. Anything Kramer says, I do the opposite. Bitcoin above 100K, yeah, so we were correct to call out that base using our 4-hour charts. And I noticed some people asking like how I saw this in some of the comments on YouTube. A lot of people were asking like, how do I read into the futures market, using that with the actual market, like using which time frames. And so we'll try to go over that if any of those people do come into the chat, just so you're aware. But mainly Bitcoin's a good time to talk about it because we saw 4-hour divergence and we go, okay, 4-hour divergence, yeah, it's extended across. But we had a divergence here, we hold up. We have a divergence here and we hold up. So I was always looking for this daily to curl back up. I think it's way too far away from the center line still to crash down. I think too many people were paying attention to head and shoulders, and now we're curling to the upside. So your coin play might look pretty good, huh? Exactly, 5-star. Yeah, you have to be aware. This is actually good for 5-star to point out, by the way. You have to be aware, if you're an investor for a long period of time, you won the game, right? If you bought down at these levels, you won the game. If you bought back in October of 2023 and you just held throughout all this, you won the game. Do you really want to risk this little move right here, right? It's like, from this point, if I buy right here, do I want to risk just that to 18% when something bad could happen? You know? If you're not a confident trader, that's what I'd say. If I was an investor, I'd be probably out of risk in general. Signals do not look good on the weekly, so that's usually when I get out of my investments. That's why I don't have any investments at this point. FFIE, glad I sold that thing. Yeah, something different happened there. be greedy for 2%. So then, that's what I'm saying. It's just the time to buy. By the way, the reason I keep pointing out October is because that's when I was calling out a bottom, right? We were calling out some kind of bottom. Now, we still were aware of the risk of dropping again, but from October, I think it was it 2023? Yeah, it was October 2023. It was in here. That's October right there. So in here, you got the signal. So you're like, okay, to this point right now, I've made 38%. Am I going to greed out for 2%? That's more of an investor style. Obviously, as traders, I'm like, hey, if I can get a 2% move, I'm going to trade the 2% move. Am I in any positions right now? I have the Qs. I have Amazon, Qs, Amazon, IWM, and obviously my GME AMC thing is always there. So, oh, and I guess Wolf. So I have a few plays out there. I was like a kid in the candy store last week. I bought a lot of stuff. Know that Wolf isn't a serious position. That's why I was hesitant to even call it out. This is not a serious position. This is testing my theory, right? My theory started to trigger. So with the reversal signal, I take that trigger. And so this is another test. But FFIE went really well. I was able to take profit on that at the high. Remember what I said, the 30-minute cross is down. That's not a good sign, right? Because last time the 30-minute crossed up, it never came back down. So the fact that this came back down, I kind of played it, held it, let the bounce happen. Okay, now we're making a lower high. So I go, okay, I'm out of the play. So I'm going to do the same thing with Wolf. What do I think for AMC? I think AMC has one of the best reversal signals I've ever seen right now. It's on the daily scale. That has not confirmed yet. It has 30-minute, 2-hour, and daily divergence all at the same time right now. Exactly, Reese. Exactly. You're like, I like these signals. Now I'm managing the trade. Once that daily curls up, I'm pretty comfortable saying like 611 will be touched in January. But the past is real. I think we sit on it. BlackBerry and stuff like that. Yeah, BlackBerry's been seeing some good stuff. I haven't looked at this in a while, though. All right, this is going to be 2-hour pullback, most likely. Yeah, 2-hour pullback. Now you're seeing a break above the high. That's great. This is what I'm saying. A lot of these things are starting to pop off. So it gives you hope for something like AMC or GME. AMC, you can turn down and end up all the way down at like 380, and it would make sense. GME, if this turns down today, we're not liking it. We need that 2-hour to confirm up today. Hey, thank you for that, Thomas. I appreciate it. Like I said, Thomas, if you're aware, we do pay attention to both sides. We just like to shout out, things that are more likely, and then we use our weekly expected move to see what things are more probable. So for GameStop, such as if you really want this thing to take off, right, the more likely thing is to fall down here with the daily divergence, even with the bad confirmation. But if that 2-hour can confirm up, that would likely be a move to try to take you outside of the crazy thing, which is where you can see good upside. So, right, we were paying attention to the signals really well. That's great. Just took some 147 puts on Nvidia. What were the reasons to take puts on Nvidia, if I might ask, OG? That's what we like to do in the course, right? We like to have 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade. And I go over what reasons I like to come up with, right? What things, according to my strategy, that I pay attention to that could give me little check marks. So I want to see... I don't think taking Nvidia calls here is even smart. I don't think any position is smart at this point for Nvidia. I don't think it's smart at all either way. This thing could keep ripping. It could drop back down and fill the gap. You have no signals to suggest either one of those, really. You just have a crazy upward move. Praying for the gap fill by the end of the week. Main reason. Okay. Hey, I love God, but I'm not praying for things to happen. I'm not praying for things to magically happen. And I'm not trying to bash you. I'm just saying I just am more so, God give me strength to see the correct signals so I can make a good decision. Right? If my reason is, well, I'm hoping for this, I want hard reasons, like, is this turning down? Is this going to pull back? That would be more of that type of signal. But hey, I respect everything you do, and I wish you nothing but luck. I truly do, OG, okay? This one's like, laugh out loud. Jobs data may cool Nvidia and QQQ down, but it could very easily send them the other way too. Exactly. So right now, all we need to pay attention to is we have a very strong base. As long as we keep the strong base in the market, we are likely to see pullbacks bought. All right, OG, we're still good. We're still good. Yeah, as long as this base remains intact, we are looking for upside. Even if we pull back dramatically with some data, I can curl right back up in the other direction. Just note that people apparently, people didn't like Jerome Powell. I don't think that was the reason that happened. I think this was part of the plan for rich people to take money at year end, but Oxy. Yeah, Oxy's been interesting. It had great signals throughout a lot of this stuff, and then it got rid of those signals. Remember, it got rid of them? Let's see. Yeah, it got rid of them, made a different point, still held one of the divergence points, but that's pretty extended. Weekly scale was able to turn up. There's little divergences there on the RSI, so you could be seeing a good reaction here. I'd be paying attention to 56.45. But for now, I think you're right to call out like, hey, this is where we might accumulate a little bit. We might pull back a little bit. You see this nice chunk in here, and you go, where are we heading to? Well, if we hold that as resistance, we can do that. So that's what I'd be looking for. Having patience is the hardest. It is. But the crazy thing is, you'll be patient, you'll be patient, you'll be patient. And then there will be a day where everything starts to move really fast and you got to react. It's like you have to go from 0 to 100. Genuine about that. It's like, think about it. If I was patient throughout this whole thing and I was thinking clearly, I'm patient, I'm patient, I'm patient, I'm patient, I'm patient, react. Oh God, it's gonna go back down. Maybe it's managed trade, react again. Okay, upward move. Uh-oh, we hit a weekly expected move, react. Look how it's kind of like patient, 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 patient. Okay, now we're in business. Okay, now we're dropping. I didn't see good signals for a trade setup for the drop. And then we're like, okay, we're patient, 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 patient. React, manage trade, react again, right? So you have to have a lot of reactions in here. Very difficult. PLTR, yeah, looking at that one. We just want to see if the 30-minute can hold up. All right, that was about to cross. Looks like it's trying to get some support there at the 5. That's good. And we look at this and we go left, head, maybe right shoulder, boom, boom, boom. So I think if you get another high above this, I think you're pretty likely to test that high, go make a new one. We do have weekly expected moves on Patreon for Palantir. Dell, I'm down to look at Dell. And then I might have to look at some other things. Where do we see Tesla at the end of the week? Let me go through this real quick and then I'll get into it. But thank you so much for the $2. And then we'll look at a couple of those, okay? I see yours too, Michael, okay? I won't forget about them. For this is great. As far as it goes, you could manage to say like, hey, this is some kind of slanted head and shoulders, right? Kind of inverse there. We'll see if that can head up. We've already taken back the breakdown area. We still might need a retest here, but I'm liking how this looks. And thank you guys so much for the donations there. But I'm not minding this. I just really want to get back above the 200. You might run into some walls here, right? Some walls in here. because you are taking back this breakdown area. We can see the wick that really confirms like that's a smart area to take back. If you can hold it and head higher and see those little 30-minute pullbacks, you can continue the move. But this chunk in here will be important to take out for that to happen. As far as Tesla goes, so Palantir, or I mean, sorry, Dell, interesting one. Not the best signals, right? But I think you did have great signals here, right? If you were in the position down here, I think you're loving life and you're just looking for topping out signals, which means you don't really care too much about little 30-minute pullbacks as long as this thing's very positive. And look at that thing, it's very positive. So if this hits a weekly expected move, I can take some off the table, maybe reload and add some more in later for the retest if that happens. Let's go look over at Tesla real quick. Thank you so much, Dark Angels, Space Marine. All right, Tesla. Tesla, very key here. We're still testing where we broke down from, okay? You do not have good reversal signals. What did we like for Tesla here? A higher low or even a divergence, right? But higher low seems to be likely. That's a pretty damn good reaction. You're going above the breakdown area, but I still think this might need to reload to turn back up. If I'm wrong about that, we're just going to see the daily be able to curl up or 4 hours curl up, and you'll just see minor little 30-minute pullbacks. Yeah, so Tesla, overall, the risk is what you have to be aware of with Tesla. All right, Tesla, Apple, and slightly Microsoft are the three that I was like, they don't look as good as far as it goes, but Microsoft's seeing a good reaction, Apple's getting a decent reaction, Tesla's getting a good reaction. So, you know, we just don't have the reversal signals for the trade setup here, in my opinion. That's why I wasn't overly eager. I know that this can V-shape. That looks like a V, doesn't it? It looks pretty straight up. So any pullback I get here, if that continues the positive trend, then I'd be happy with it. Oh, good lad, AMC. Oh, good laddie. Oh, that AMC. AMC, gonna buy 3. All right, let's go look at BTAL real quick for Michael, or Mikael. I don't know how you say your name, but I like it. Not liking this one off the bat. 30 minutes, too choppy to really give some analysis on it. Too many choppy price action there. Not enough liquidity to really make full bars, which is kind of struggling. The signal I would be patient for here, very, very patient for here, is this guy right here, right? I'd be looking for that daily to actually cross up, and then that doesn't even guarantee you. It probably tells you, hey, we can go fill a gap or something like that, but you want to make sure to manage risk here. You're below the 200, so you got to be watching this trade closely. But if that daily can curl up, you can see good things. That's really all there is here, is a daily divergence that is forming, but it's not confirmed, so that easily could keep dropping. So it means don't make any hasty decisions. Let maybe the 2 hour give you a signal, right? If we're able to do something like this, let it give you a signal. And if no signal pops up, then I'm not going to force myself into a trade. Does that make sense? Yeah. And really, you know, people coming out saying be careful, I think that's fine to say, Greg, but I'm going to be more careful towards here and the most careful towards here. That's really where I'm seeing it. Now, we're outside of a daily expected move, so saying be careful is the right thing, but as we're pointing directly to this, any kind of pullbacks I see most likely will be bought up, but we do get data tomorrow. Thoughts on Quantisat, hype, or the next big thing? I think it could be both. I think it could be both. I've been shouting out this guy. I like RGTI. I think this is the one that I was shouting out down in here, looking for that move higher. I know that another one that people are paying attention to is APLD. APLD looked like a great move was coming. Look at that thing. That was just fantastic. We talked about this last week. Daily confirming up now. So you're very likely to make a new high for APLD, even with the divergence points. Right, notice how good APLD is at giving you those divergence points on an uptrend. That's going to see a big dump, right? Divergence here at the top again with the 2 hour gives you the dump, divergence across, don't make sense. One more move up because the divergence isn't very good on the RSI. Okay, we pop up for a second. Here's the trap. This is where I'd be watching out. If it doesn't confirm down though, there's no reversal signals. This thing could take off, but I like those. I don't think quantum computing is like breaking anything. I don't think it's like huge by any means just yet. I think there is very good potential there, and I think the hype is good, and it can be. The hype is relative to the price of those type of stocks. Yeah, BTOL, I don't think there's a good position to take either way. It's kind of like Nvidia, just in the other direction, right? Nvidia seeing a crazy good upward move, okay, but is that something that can help me make a bullish or bearish decision right now, or should I look for other opportunities? I think you can look at like, VOO. You can look at stuff like this. If it'll load for us, there you go. VOO is another one that shows the pretty much same signals as the SPY, right? I mean, this is just a S&P 500 ETF, so this is one that you can look for. See, I think this is the game, guys. I'm gonna tell you this. I think this is the game for this week. I'm gonna tell you guys what I think the game is, right? According to, if I was the market maker, if I was rich people trying to take people's option money, if I was option players, we'd react up to here. What happened the last time we were here? Awful things. So what if we react to here, something that looks awful happens, but not as awful as last time, and instead we only get this? And you go, uh-oh. And then people get really bearish, and then we just curl back up into positive territory. I think that's very likely to happen. I mean, technically it could go even deeper, right? But I just think that people are going to see this, and if they see a big drop from the same point, they're going to be like, oh my god, it's over. And I'm going to be like, yeah, we're in a positive trend. If the 2 hour crosses, it's worse. But right now you're just like, okay, play that daily expected, or that weekly expected move and being happy. All I got to do. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. One that's a little bit lackluster, but able to break through at this point is IWM. We'll see if something comes from that. I think IWM is going to end up to 230 to 235. Sorry, not 250. Somewhere in here. Makes a lot of sense. But we see the resistance that could be formed there. The support last time was very strong. So I'll be paying attention to when this thing taps out here. Hello, Nazim. Nazim, I was making my way through your email, by the way. I got to get through the rest of it. I started reading, I was like, ooh, I need more time for this. So, how do I feel about the Googs? I don't feel bad about it. I think it still had better signals than, say, Apple or... actually, I think it had better signals than Apple, Tesla, maybe even, what's it called? Microsoft. But for now, it's like, okay, we didn't necessarily have a 2 hour signal, but I have a 2 hour that's going positive. So something big here is just, this looks like sideways, right? This looks pretty sideways. Maybe we are going to consolidate. I'm sure you can make a triangle there, see if it's breaking out. But the daily is pretty up there, so this could have more work to be done. Right now you're getting that 2 hour move higher. We're kind of running into resistance. We'll see if that's just a little something, kind of blip. I think the 30-minute looks extremely positive, but if you look at the daily, just as far as the best opportunities, I look for ones that give me more room on this MACD, right? I don't usually take ones that are right here unless it's a very short-term trade on a very loved stock like maybe Nvidia, but I would rather see a MACD a little bit lower, right? I want more pullback to happen so that I can get a solid curl up and find signals that call it before then. So do I think it's bad? No. Do I think it's a really good opportunity? Not necessarily. But you can see we're holding, breakthrough, head to the upside a little bit. That's why we have weekly expected moves, and that's probably where that taps out. AMC looking positive, GME looking negative. Remember, GME, we will be paying attention to this daily chart today. The daily chart here for GME actually confirming with a negative bar below the 5 and below the 9 would be a big deal. 5 on the daily. 9 on the daily as well, so we'll pay attention to this. But you are still remaining tight, so if this is an inside trading bar, I'm probably still holding on to all my GME. But let's go back over to here real quick, and I gotta pull some stuff up on my other charts for just a moment, guys, so give me a brief moment here. Where the heck are you? There you are. All right, let's see. See what's going on with you. Volatility, 30 minutes, just checking on some stuff. Yeah, so if we're gonna see reversal from this, and this is some kind of trap, volatility is the only one to give you that. And this does not really look like volatility dropping off that would cause some kind of bounce, like just from the structure of it, right? But we still do have it, right? So if the 30-minute curls up at any point today, we will be watching out. Nothing for VVIX. Let's look at VIX 9-day popping off a little bit there. So yeah, the only reversal to go down from here that I'm seeing is paying attention to volatility. Then I want to go look at Wolf not breaking through. Oil still catching that bid. FFIE dropping off. Amazon a little bit on the struggle bus for a second here, still up 0.93. And IWM showing a little bit of a struggle as well here now. We will see. 10-year yield back to the highs, back to the highs. We do see times where the uninversion reinverts and then you see more bullishness for a second. If we can maybe pull that up in tonight's video or on our Saturday video, but the last time we went through and we showed the yield curve uninversion, just remember that you saw it kind of like if this is the uninversion line, you would see it a lot of the time uninvert, reinvert, and then uninvert again really quickly. So we could see that soon. We'll pay attention. I don't quite know what you're talking about, Greg, but I'm down to listen to you. You're showing it at 414. Are they like pre-pricing things? Because this is 416, 417. The uninverted yield curve has never lied. Depends on what you define as a lie. I'm just saying on the first push, sometimes you see that dip down, like it reinverts. I'm not going to be paying. The main thing I just need to be aware of is it's not going to lie, but it says 6 to 18 months is usually the average time frame there. I'm aware of January still, though, right? I'm not going into that. I'm saying, hey, I'm going to pay attention to any reversal signals throughout 2025, but I have some main months I want to pay attention to. So I think we're on the same bus. You know what I mean? All right, see, this is where you start to go, okay, Nvidia, now you're starting to get there a little bit. But it is squeezing. Let's see what people are doing. Are they starting to short this thing yet? We have a lot of shorts out for February. Wait, are you praying for me? Yeah, this is where you start to get a little worried, though. But it's a squeeze, so it's gonna look crazy. But I think this is where you might see that 30-minute pullback once we get above 152 or so, maybe 153. What do I think of the PCC? I think this is great. I think it's right in the middle. People starting to go to the call side right as Nvidia hits towards some upward moves. Okay. If the SPY can go up towards that upward move. Okay. Is this just the pre-hype? Could be a sell the news event. I hope nobody buys at these highs. Average time from Fed starts rate cuts to 20% down is about 200 days. Oh, okay, so we're kind of in the danger zone then, aren't we? We're kind of there. Actually, yeah, we're there. Let me see if I have my timing right, but... yeah, we're getting there. Fast typer. Oh, I'm very fast. But I do not type how they taught you in school. I like type half and half. Better than my dad with his pointer fingers. He's like... my dad types like... half caveman, half noble. It's been a while since markets have sent the gap down. Come on, pal, give us the gap down 10%. Hey, apparently people really didn't like Jerome Powell back here, but I don't think this should have happened when he said we completely avoided recession. We clearly avoided recession. I'm a bull, just a technical trader. Hey, I get you. I get you. That's awesome. I love second opinion. Like, Greg, I'm not. Just know that it's a discussion back and forth, right? But I'm listening to what you're saying. It makes me just want to manage even more, right? It makes me think about my risk even more, and that's never a bad thing. Micron? Is Micron MU? Whoa! Micron, I would say 2 hour divergence for the double bottom. There it is, 2 hour divergence. So this was your buy signal, 86, 87-ish. And then we get up to our sell zone. So this is where you run into problems. Doesn't mean you have to run into serious problems. This is very high up on the 30-minute now. I'm just saying 30-minute can consolidate or even pull back from here. But I don't have key levels for this. The daily might be taken over. There you go, daily crossing up. I don't short anything that curls up on a daily, I can tell you that. But yeah, we've talked about this. If you can get through this zone, where are you heading? Probably to that one, right? Whenever we can hold up in this zone and buy up, hey, look at this, breakout, retest, breakout. Okay, get back in it, break out, get back in it, break out. So if we can hold in here, that'd be the best case scenario for it. Oh, okay, Jamie. Yeah, sometimes you gotta check. Sometimes if you like scroll through chat, it like lags the video or something like that. I've done that on live shows. History shows NASDAQ loves double tops to market highs. Yeah, and sometimes it's very close, right? That's why I'm really going to be watching. Is it just subtly lower? Is it subtly higher? And I think that inclination there, it doesn't matter what I lean towards, correction or, by the way, it doesn't matter if I lean towards correction or lean towards crash. If I don't see any signals in a drop, if there's no strong base and the market's dropping and it just never creates a strong base, then it's going to keep dropping, right? It is more likely to keep dropping. If we start to see big time frames curl up, hey, we could V-shape, you know what I mean? It's not, but if it's a correction, then we could see like a big drop down to here and then end up doing this over time. But yeah, I think Greg knows what he's talking about. I like it. And we're looking for like I said, it's very risky to even play this right now because I think you're just going to see this brief, and who's to say it's not right now? But post new pres, it can be. The seasonality of the past 12 months has not, it's sometimes been behind, it's sometimes been ahead. So like this would be the Christmas rally that should have been, right? Some people were calling this the Christmas rally, but you know, a lot of the time the Christmas rally happens after December 25th, and you would say that failed. So you did not get a Christmas rally. Are you going to get a rally now? That's kind of what we're looking for. But yeah, thanks for bringing up seasonals. It's still good to pay attention to. It's just not something that it won't convince me to do anything crazy, right? It won't convince me to take a play, just seasonality alone. If I see seasonality and I want some extra, you know, feel-good juice, and I see a reversal signal, and then I go look at seasonality, and it's around that time where we're supposed to go up or down, and I see the signal that coincides with that, that would make me feel better. Please drop the X handle. Pretty sure it's money making. I don't know. I haven't looked at it today. We've had a snowstorm here, and it's been awful, but yeah, if you guys want my Twitter, MMM Technicals. MMM Technicals. That's the Twitter. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's gone. I'm trying to make sure to only talk about market stuff. Sometimes I can't help myself. All right, we'll see if that daily can confirm up. Yeah, I think consolidation would make some sense here, though. Retest the 5 coming up. I really hope we get to this range. Did I just move that? No, okay. Hope we get to that range, then we come back down to retest the 5, then we see that explosive move up. It would be a great take profit, see that come down, reload, and then we head up towards 611. It would be great. Oh, Amazon looking like it's producing right now. There you go. This is one I'm keeping my eye on. Meta's another one. For some reason, I just remember not taking Meta. I don't remember why, but I loved Meta's look, so I'm kind of kicking myself for not doing that. And 617.82 is super obvious. I think it's because Meta and Amazon were very similar to me, and Amazon just allowed me to buy more contracts, which during a squeeze, I really want more contracts. Dang, I saw my calls on SPY way too early. One thing I will say to you, Jamie, is technically no. Technically for the day, not necessarily, right? You're playing the risk factor, right? If you have a shortened out amount of like time to expiration, and this happens, this is a crazy thing that can happen. That's good money. So I'm gonna clap for you. I'm not gonna say that's bad. Right? This is more just when you have to make that decision. Am I getting completely out? Do I want to make this? Do I want to see if this can run to the weekly? These are the decisions you have to make as a trader, right? It might be, hey, I have 10 contracts. Let me sell 8, leave 2, then I sell 2 more, right? So, yeah, you could have, but you didn't. So what's the next part? Don't sit there and linger on what could have been. What can you do now? You can't control the past. You already made the decision. You can't control that. You know what you can control? The present, right now. And then you can set yourself up for the future. Very nice. You learn from the past, you move in the present, and you plan for the future. Right? Yeah, it's like, hey, one thing is this. Jamie, this is your 68% zone, right? This happens to be short squeeze time, so this is highly likely, right? But it's not probable, technically, right? According to the option market, it's not that probable. This is probable today. So what if you gapped up to here and you came down? Would you be kicking yourself right now? No. So why would you kick yourself because of that? It's a good decision. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's still a good decision if you want to hold this, as long as you're thinking about it clearly. When the market crashes, it's going to be massive. Yeah, and we just got to see how much time we have left. There's a few things that can happen with that too, all right? We got to see if that crash leads to a big market bottom. What if it leads to a big market bottom and doesn't go as low as you expect? Are you going to react? Are you going to react? I will, because I trust my signals. All right, where's my QQQ at? That was a big gap up. I'm up 300%. I think I'm juicy with that. I'll take 330. All right, how much do I got here? Sick. Damn. I wish I felt riskier these days. I kind of wish I felt a little riskier. Goes on to hold. All right, let's get rid of. And the reason I want to get rid of one, like the Qs, I'm getting rid of it as we go into the gap resistance, just in case. But just because it's a good money value, the goal was achieved. Way more than the goal was achieved actually with that. Yeah, nice little 500 into 1500 pretty quick. Or I'm sorry, 500 into 2,000. Not bad. A little less than 2,000. Couldn't sell it for the exact one, but pretty good. How much can the market drop in a day? A lot. I mean, you won't see it too often, right? You'll see it in really bad times. Usually it's around what? I think like 3% is like a big drop for a day. But it's like if you look here, that was 3.61%. That's one of the biggest drops we've had in a long ass time, right? Like this right here is about the same. This right here is only 3. So you'd say like around that 3 to 4% is probably the bigger drops that you see. If you go into maybe like crash times, you can probably find bigger ones, right? Let's see how much we dropped from this. See, even this, it took a lot of time. 3%, 250, 1%. See this one here, 2%. So it's very rare to see more than a 3% turn down in a day. Very, it's rare to see a 3% turn down in a day. So it's very rare to see more than that. Wolf's coiling up. But it's still possible. That's the thing. You don't want to treat everything like it's impossible. But if you see a 3% in a day and you're down by a weekly expected move, yeah, it can continue, but that could be something that says, hey, that's a big move down for one day. We like to see snapbacks and things like that. Maybe I just say, hey, I'm gonna take my profit and then leave some runners. You know, that's always a good thing to do, right? I took profit on the Qs. My runners are other positions, right? Isn't that cool? My runner right now is gonna be Amazon. Right now, I don't have to have risk with the Qs. I'm chilling. I can look at my other stocks. I can just go, okay, IWM and Amazon are going to be my runners. And mainly, Amazon's my runner because I have another week added onto this, right? So with the Qs, I only had another. I think it was with the option I took. I think I had about 2 weeks. Now with Amazon, I have 3 weeks left in it, so it's not going to lose value too quickly, which is nice. But yeah, and I've had to manage trades throughout, guys. Don't think like, oh, I made 300% and I'm just the best and I never lose. No, I had to manage a trade right here, right? But I couldn't even manage a trade right here. Do you guys remember? This is when I was sick. And I fell asleep, and I was losing money right here. And then I saw the weekly expected move, and I go, okay, well, I'm already screwed on it. Let me wait an hour and a half. Okay, that curled up. Let me take another position, right? Right, and then I sold one, let the other one run, sold the other. So, fantastic. And we're up towards the weekly at gap resistance, so I'm comfortable selling that with what it made. So, yeah, don't think it was perfect. I was losing money right here, all right? I, was a little bit sick, fell asleep, lost some money, found that the weekly expected move was there. I was still confident that this, I was willing to fall asleep, right? Because I was still confident this was going to be a base in some way. But it's great. And the reason I took the Qs, why did I take the Qs? Well, because they confirmed up. The SPY confirmed up on the gap. So the Qs were able to confirm the day before. That's why I took it. Yeah, I mean, you can reload at any time. We can go retest a daily expected move at any time. We could go fill and retest the 5 at any time. That's why I'm kind of taking my risk out as we're overbought, going into gap resistance. Yeah, we're probably going to end up there, but is that going to be right now? It can be, but I'm taking some of my risk off, say as the Qs, but say the SPY. I'm taking my risk off here as we hit some potential resistance in case we need to reload and then turn back up. And the reason that I overall got convinced of that was, dude, it said 300%. You think I'm going to hold something when it's more than 300%? Unless it's AMC, GME, or something like Wolf or something. No, if it's a regular market trade for me, I am a regular trader. That is how I make my money. So I'm going to make the decisions that I see fit. The goal was well achieved for the Qs at this point with this play. And it just looks similar to the SPY, so... Does it have room up? Yeah, 60182. But if I have an option for today, tomorrow, the next day, I might be like, oh, well, what if we do this for 2-3 days and then we turn up and we get there by the end of the week or Thursday or something. Willing to admit his losses. And yeah, this one actually turned out to be not a loss. Right? That's why I like position trading, because if I see good structure, I can fall asleep, wake up, and still be like, oh, okay, I'll just get back in. I'll just get the position a little bit more to make it more cost average, to be like right in here. And then if we get above that, I'm happy. And what did I do? I just took like the weekly expected. I just took this and I said, all right, I'm going to buy some calls for here, some calls for here. And I think we're going to get there. We gap up, I make enough money, we don't even have to get there. We gap up again, we don't even get there, I get to make money. That's it. Yeah, but I just don't want people to think like, oh, this is just so easy for him or something. No, this when I woke up from my nap caused me a lot of stress. I'm going to tell you that right now. I was like, damn it, this better be a base, right? I still feel the feelings that every other human does while trading. It's just I'm able to swallow those feelings and be like, all right, cool. Now I'll wait for the reaction for an hour and a half. I get the reaction. I go, okay, it's go time again. So it's great. But yeah, Dylan, I want to make that clear because I think a lot of traders will just show you like, oh, I made $6,000 in 10 minutes. It's like, yeah, that's what happened another time. Like, there's no way you're perfect. So you can't just tell everyone that you're a genius all the time. It's like, makes no sense. At the end of the day, I look at charts on a computer. I don't think I'm a genius. Then Jolt sends markets lower tomorrow. Possible. We are getting very frothy to the call side now, right? When we do get frothy to the call side, that's when I start to watch out. IWM starting to turn here, which means we might be reloading soon. Ooh, I don't know though, man. I don't know if we're gonna reload. I think Nvidia is likely in a period of time where it might, but you can violate the ranges and things like that. This could go to 156 before it retests a range, right? We've seen those times where, remember Tesla? Where's Tesla? Do you guys remember Tesla? I think it was this move here. Yeah, it was this move here, I'm pretty sure. So this move here, we had a weekly expected move that was like right here. What did we do? We saw a massive rip up, right? I think we might have started the week. Oh, was it there? It might have been there. It might have been somewhere else. But for the context of what we're about to say, take into consideration, there was at some point where Nvidia did it. I don't remember where exactly it was. Maybe it was here. What day is this? A Wednesday? I can't remember. But for the context here, if you jump past that weekly expected move, you can then use that level as support. And this actually used it as support, I believe, the next week and then went in the upward direction. So That's what I'm saying could happen with Nvidia. We could just see it rip, and then you see the daily or the monthly. God damn it! Then you could see the weekly expected move used as support. Isn't it 3%? Exactly. Yes, it is. A 3% swing in a matter of days is. So what should you assume? Right? I think it could too, Dylan. I'm on that same boat. Let me read through that in a second. But 158 for the target. There you go. Greg thinks 158 looks like a good target. Reloading means like if I sell a position, I'm looking for the little pullback in a bullish trend to head in the upward direction again. So I'm looking for almost like a short, little tiny swing trade. Yeah, OG, I hear that too. You're smart when you read other people's comments on X. Yeah, so if you're assuming and you're like, hey, a 3% swing, say from here, from a cross up, let's say the cross up, right? Say 3%. This would be kind of crazy, wouldn't it, to do that in just a couple of days? So what should you assume right away then? Well, there might be pullbacks. What is suggesting there's going to be a pullback soon? Well, if we hit the weekly expected move, then at least the options market will say, damn, that's a good move, right? Even this can be used as a mental place too. This is price at a mental place where we could see selling. Why could we read into that with the SPY? Well, the SPY, remember 600? Super important level, right? 600 is always going to be super important here. And where are we heading to? 600. So what do you think day traders are going to do at around 600 to our weekly expected move? What do you think they're going to do? Potentially sell those positions, right? At the end of the day, the stock market comes down to buying and selling. This is a likely area for sellers to come into the market. We call them traps, we call them whatever, it's fine, but at the end of the day, it's just people selling, right? So if I think that this is too crazy to do in the next few sessions, right, 2 trading sessions, if we're not just going to do that, I don't know why I just drew a bunch, but if we're not going to do that, okay, that is unlikely, then most likely we're going to experience some kind of pullback that then is able to reload to get you there. And then when we say reload, it means if I have options this week, I might sell those options, see it come down, see it curl back up, and we just see this on your MACD. This would be that opportunity possibly happening. So I'm taking my risk out before we get there because the goal was already achieved. Did you see that 0DT options are now 51% of all options trades? Holy crap, and that is why your market maker has a bunch of power, because they have a lot of liquidity. They have a lot of liquidity. So when we say liquidity, why you want to pay attention to maybe areas like this is because there's maybe a big amount of orders there. And then when we get there, those orders could react in some way. They could get past that, right? If we gap above that, then they could react the other way. It's just buying and selling. At the end of the day, that's all it is. This is where the sellers are likely to come in. This is where option traders are likely to go. That's enough money for me. And if you believe that the market maker does funky things, this is the most likely area where they can catch people off guard. That's crazy though, 51%, Matthew. Frick, man, I haven't seen that stat, and that is pretty crazy. So like the thing that I think people get wrong a lot when they think of market manipulation is in order to manipulate the market, it still takes money. It still takes money, it still takes orders, it still takes buyers and sellers. It's just someone has more money than you, so manipulating the market is possible, right? But they're still going to reach for those levels where they can get liquidity, or else they cannot manipulate the market. That's what I think a lot of people get wrong. I think even I've said before, like, hey, they could just shoot this higher tomorrow if they want, right? If you take into consideration like earnings and things like that, why do earnings see massive moves? It's because there's a ton of liquidity. There's a ton of people betting on earnings all the time. we get some sauce on Wolf? You want some sauce on it? Hey, right now you're feeling good. Now, I haven't researched Wolf like I did FFIE. So one thing I would like to do, the reason I sold Wolf here was the same reason for FFIE, right? The lower high, right? The 30-minute cross back up, okay. Or the 2-hour cross back up. I think there actually was a 30-minute divergence at the high. That's why I sold Wolf. But if you go look at like the last move, what I like to do is look at the 30-minute and be like, hey, how should I treat the 30-minute during this bottom move that went up over time, right? That's all I want to do. Or maybe I want to look at something that was more squeezy like this one. And then I'll go into a 30-minute and just go, okay, well, I have daily divergence. The daily never crossed back down. So maybe that's how I do it, right? Maybe the daily turns up here and the daily doesn't turn back down. So the only way I get out of this is if I see a sell signal. What is a sell signal to me? Well, it'd be divergence on a 30-minute would be the first one. And then I would look for if the 2-hour can turn back up. So that's all I would be really doing. 809 key level, 1135 my next key level, and that would definitely get you breaking out. Oh, this looks awful. Oh, I do not think Wolf is a great stock for me to be doing, but I'm testing a theory, right? I wouldn't normally take a play like this. I wouldn't normally take a play like this, guys. There's like 50 bucks behind this trade, okay? This is a theory I have to test, and I like to put my emotions involved in it. Yeah, I like to put my emotions in. You know how you get your emotions involved? Put a little bit of money, just put a little bit, right? So I put a little bit so that now I can treat it very seriously. I think with like 50 bucks, I was able to buy 10 contracts, so not too upset about it. It means every dollar above that contract, I'm gonna make about $1,000. So if that thing runs to 20 bucks, hey, I might make like 10K. That'd be stream dying. No, well, we do have a storm, guys, so I apologize if the stream's a little funky. I will go check the health of the stream right now. I'm sorry if it is, but it's just it is frozen outside. We have ice with snow on top of it, and we have like a foot of snow right now. So I will go check, make sure. Usually it gives me a no. Am I back? Am I back? Stream current rate is lower than recommended rate. We recommend user rate of 6,800. I might have to do that later. Yeah, sorry guys. It is very freaking cold out, and we had a storm all day yesterday. So we have ice, and on top of that ice, we have a foot of snow. So there's been people dying because they're still driving their cars. I told my wife we're not leaving the house. Hey, that's awesome, OG. I'm glad. I hope you were able to hear what I was talking about. Now, COG, I could miss out on this little move to 529.78 for the Qs, right? I just sold those positions. But the thing is, am I really going to hate myself? Like, no, the goal was achieved, right? Taking profit is not a bad thing. Hey, a couple of guys wanted to join in on the Twitter. I'll try to tweet more. Usually I try to be very vague on Twitter because, you know, I'm mainly focused on sending good info to Patreon. Patreon, we will be doing a weekly update very early this week, potentially. Right, we're hitting weekly expected moves. So that's when we like to put out the update video. See what signals we are seeing towards the weekly expected moves. Because IWM's suffering here. I don't really like that. I want to see more positivity from IWM. TLT, another drop down for the 2-hour. 2-hour can drop even more. Maybe that rejection divergence is able to hold, right? We don't want to violate this point. That means down for TLT. So I might want to be watching this guy. See if that hourly can turn back up. Because we're kind of losing it on the hourly. We don't like that. So that's why I'm not really all in on TLT like sometimes I am. Dollar, I think, wicking up. VIX, the only signal we need to be watching, this little 30-minute one right there. It is there. But it's just not looking like it wants to go up at all. So we'd have to see some selling come in probably first in order to see VIX pop off a little bit. Where would you expect a bottom on the dollar? I actually think the dollar has a lot more work to be done here. I think the dollar has a higher probability to drop down for a moment here. I think this is probable to drop down a little bit further, down to 106, down to 105.65, somewhere in this area. Maybe just a retest of the breakout though at 107. Mainly just looking for the dollar to curl down and curl back up. But the dollar can just keep ripping if these 2 hours, these 4 hours keep ripping, right? 2 hour crosses up. We were looking for the 4 hour divergence. That has confirmed, right? You're below the 5 again with a pretty steep downturn there. So you are likely, I think you're more likely to see something like this, right? We just kind of stagger our way down for a bit, and then we see what happens. I think the dollar is suggesting that this move is pretty real. How can you tell when it curls down for Nvidia? I like 30-minute charts the best. Something that I can do outside of these ranges is look for 5-minute divergence. There's no, this is very squeezy divergence, so I would not encourage 5-minute charts in a squeeze. I would not, because this 5-minute little thing right here, this flat, you can convince yourself, oh, that's going to be a massive drop. Just to be honest, during a squeeze, you can see a little thing like this, and then it just goes. You can see a little bit like this, and then it just keeps going. So I know that this is getting towards some key levels if you're part of Patreon, but I would just be aware, one, that has not hit the key levels, and two, I would not be looking at the shorter time frames, right? I would be looking for the next bullish trade for Nvidia, if anything, which would be a 30-minute curling down. I think you're likely to see the 30-minute curl down off the weekly. That's kind of a crazy move. 2 hours overbought, right? Yeah, so you can still see it for a bit of time. I just think that shorting in a short squeeze is exactly the opposite of what you want to do. Apple actually getting a decent reaction. Ooh, still want that 30 minutes to reload. GME, I did see one guy. I'm very hesitant to watch like people who only cover GME and AMC, but I did watch one guy that's pretty interesting over the weekend. Well, with the snowstorm, you can imagine not much to do. So I looked at some GME people for fun, just to see what their technicals are like. Oh my God, their technicals are really bad. A lot of them are really bad. But one guy I noticed, he kind of overlays how these things move at key times, and he was suggesting that a small pullback like this for GME, that would encourage the next pop higher. So something I'm paying attention to is the 30-minute dropping here. I want to see if it makes some kind of base here, right? Even though the daily's crossing, I still want to see if that's making a base in some way. Right, I'm really wondering at this point, it's like, do I get out of my options and just hold the stock? Like, it seems like the options are getting complicated with this kind of look. So it's pretty much, if that 30-minute curls down, do we make a base so this 2 hour can actually curl up? And it lined up with this one guy's thinking, the way that he likes to do things. And I was like, I don't think that's the best way to do things personally. But of course, I'm gonna have my disagreements. You know what I mean? If someone does something differently than I do, and what I do I think works, and they do something differently, hey, that's fine. There's a million different ways to trade, but that was just something interesting. Yeah. But, like, that's unfortunate, Georgie. It's unfortunate, man. It's bound to happen, but at the end of the day, it's like, I guess at the end of the day, if I found out someone who I say, I don't even know how to put it, but it's just like, once you get big enough, I guess, like you can, fuck, I don't even know how to really put it besides like, it'd be lucky if that person like still produced something for you in some way, but I think you would be able to tell. It's kind of like Meet Kevin. Like, I think you could tell over a year of watching, like, hey, is this person calling things out right, or are they wrong most of the time? I think it will reflect in how they do technicals, or if they are a technical person. Like, I think it will reflect, right? You can obviously see my previous videos all last week, you can really see, and I think that's how you do things. And we even mentioned that in the video last night. We're like, you can go back test, right? Back test a YouTuber and see what they said here, see what they said here, and see what they said here, right? And then you can have a good understanding of, you know, is that person legit or not? When does Jensen give a speech? Thank you, Avalon. Really appreciate it. Some days I'll be a little more hyped. You guys remember that day where I think I took that, this was like back in the spring. I took an Nvidia option. I think it was worth like 900% the next day or something, and I sold it. And that's one day where I was like stunned, and we were a little hyped in the chat. We called a big V-shaped trap. That was May 30th, May 31st. Something like that, May 30th or May 31st, I believe. And that was a crazy day. Like, I remember being stunned, like, holy crap. I do that with you all the time, Lucas. That's why I'm here every morning. And that's fine with me. Go pack test. I'm not someone who says they're going to be right all the time, but that's why we talk about managing risk very seriously on this channel. I think we all bought it. Yeah, remember that was when I was getting hate. I had people coming into my channel. I think I had 200 people, and I only had like 5,000 subs then, and I was getting hate. I was getting hate mail. I was getting hate mail because I was saying that I was getting bullish, and people were just like, what? I appreciate that, natural born nerd. Hopefully it remains to be amazing, but I treat it very seriously when I say things to you guys. Like, I know it seems like sometimes I just ramble it off and I do it really quickly, but I am genuinely telling you what I think is going to happen, and then the price action can produce it later, right? I'll tell you what I did. I reacted here. I reacted here. We called it out this entire time. Very, very cool. So going around here, I think so. I think you might have a moment this week where we reload before we go to 611 for the SPY. It is possible that we just see a massive squeeze, but I think as we're approaching a top, I think people are a little bit more inclined to hit that sell button a little bit, which just means we could see 30-minute pullbacks, 2-hour pullback maybe. Maybe you get 1 2-hour pullback. So what you're looking for is, remember how good this base was? You want to find a top? Look at the 2-hour. What if it does that? Right? And then the 2-hour does this. We're looking for the same thing in the opposite direction. And it can take a lot of time for that to form. That doesn't have to form. So we're going to pay attention to any weakness that we see outside of the monthly expected moves. I think you are very likely this is a trap squeeze. But I think this is going to be an all-time high trap squeeze. That's just my opinion. Obviously, we have to see if this can turn up. If that turns up, then that's very likely. Bearish as it stands, yeah, GME just not looking pretty. This is not what you want to see. You want to see the only thing that can save you here, and the only thing I'll wait for before I get out of positions to salvage some money as this goes down, right? You lose more and more value. Looked pretty good. Now it's starting to lose value, so maybe I can end up breaking even. But for the most part, this coming down like this, able to curl up. I still have my GME, and I just got my AMC back in. But unless that forms, I'm probably going to be out of this thing as far as options go. All right, it's easy to hold a stock. You don't lose a ton of value, but options, 100x leverage, no thank you. Well, I think that's important, Siri, and we take that into the course, right? That's one of the first things we say in the course is, I'm sure that people are going to tell you what the MACD stands for and all that stuff, but I'm going to tell you why I pay attention to it, why it's important, how I utilize it. And that's a big difference for me. Once I started to think more like that, my trading changed. And so that's why we say that so much. I appreciate you, IYC man. I like pain. Oh man. How's AMD doing? Ooh, I should look at a weekly for this. Was it pricing in about a 2.5% move? Who's part of Patreon? Yeah, it can go higher. Same with Nvidia, right? Barely. A little bit. Okay, did Wolfie backing off a little? Crazy thing is my option didn't see the most positivity from that. That's unlucky. It's gonna happen. PCC going down to 0.703. Dollar still reacting, overall holding down. Volatility not confirming any kind of sell signal here, and we're starting to violate the divergence. Let's double click on that to see. We're getting there. So if we're not going to see a reaction in volatility from here, then we could keep going. Go into a 5-minute for a second, curling down, no divergence here. So it is very unlikely that we're actually even going to see a 30-minute curl down today, actually. According to the signals, very unlikely. Still, if that were to happen, you want to be reacting, because that means we might actually, if the 30-minute rolls from here, right, there's space between this. So if it actually does roll, that's already going to be down to here by the time it rolls. We want to see if there's support at 595.49, but if that rolls, you're very likely to reconnect with this 5 as it staggers up. So I'm not seeing on the 5-minute anything to really worry about. I'm going to stare at a 5-minute for a little bit of time here. Let's check the Qs are above it. See how they're violating the divergence point, which means we're very likely to make another move, even with a 5-minute pullback. This is really convincing me that if we see the 5-minute divergence show its head here, that's where I'll be watching out a little bit for the 30-minute pullback, right? That means an opportunity. Am I going to short it? No. Am I going to look for the next bullish opportunity? Yes. Which means when we get there, what if we hit a daily here, we hit a daily on the downside here, and then we curl back up? Well, I guess that would be 30-minute, but say the 30-minute continues like this, then it curls down to a daily. We maybe retest a breakout zone that's known as important. That would be the zone in here. Okay, awesome. Maybe we do this, this, then we go. And then you see that 2-hour pullback maybe come. All right, we talked about the 2-hour. What am I looking for structure for selling? Well, if the 2-hour can keep going, maybe we see it later on, actually. That would come after inauguration too, so there's a million ways this could play out, and as long as we're just watching the signals correctly, we'll be fine. I'm gonna put it on a 5-minute for fun so we can actually see these bars move. Who the heck subscribed, Travis? Hey Travis, thanks for being here. Wolf coiling, let's look at it on a 5. Hey, that's good. Holding, little triangle in there, getting tight, looking for the next move higher. This move could take you through that 809, so you're hoping for some great positivity there. That's all I would say. Looked like AMC went back to positive for a second there. That's good. The only thing I think Black Swan-wise, as of right now, that you might pay attention to is how does the market react? How does the market react if we're going to actually see GME like break markets? Like I am so interested in that. If someone has a theory for if GME actually did do what some crazy people are thinking, which is like $1,000 like per share, what the hell would happen to the market? Like their collateral would be ruined. That's just crazy. Jobs and core this week. Yep. Jobs, thanks for reminding me. Jolts tomorrow, FOMC on Wednesday, and then non-farm payrolls and unemployment Friday are what I'm really watching. I want to see unemployment. I do. I want to see this. Is this ticking up? Is it ticking down? We already triggered here with the low. Now we got the SOM rule in here. Now we're starting to see that back off for a moment and then maybe trend back up. Right? We see these little back offs. We see these little back offs, but I want to see when that starts to get above, like, 4.5, 5%. If we see that increase, watch out. Because that means they're going to have to cut rates. If you see unemployment go up, then don't be thinking raise rates, all right? Deflation, recession will take care of inflation. Let me tell you that. Oh God, am I getting laggy again? Market closed Thursday, I know. I hate it. I think it's silly. Not silly for Jimmy Carter, no offense to that. I'm just saying. We've had like 3 weeks in a row. 3 weeks in a row, man. Just give me a full week, please, of price action. Okay, thanks for answering me, you guys. Saw it lagged a second. Love this channel. Wish I found it years ago. Well, we've only been around since August of 23. I've been trading all alone for a long time until you guys came around. Just kidding. So excited. Same, Dave. Yo, you guys don't know how pumped I've been during all of this. I love this, man. Like I said, learn to love it. If you hated this, go through it again. Go through it again. Go through it again. Go through it again. I'm telling you right now, if this is something that's very important, because bear markets are built to, they will make as many people as possible lose money. That's like why I made this channel, was to make it so it's like, hey, it looks like we're approaching a top in the next few years. We're going to pay attention to points of weakness. We called some tops at times and we fixed those tops and we're able to turn in the upward direction. That's us being traders. We flip back and forth. But you got to learn to love this type of behavior. 1920 style depression. There is a scenario where you get a crash and you end up at new all-time highs by 2028, and 2029 actually solidifies the actual crash where things do look like a absolute depression. The timeline of that is actually pretty funny, because that would be what happened in 1929. 100 years later, you get 2029. That'd be super interesting. Yeah, there is a chance where we drop by 30 to 40% and still build to all-time highs again, right? That would mean we're still paying attention to money pumping and things like that. But I I voted for the guy, but Trump, hey, he still did things in 2018 that caused some of the stock market to go higher, right? These presidents, they're obsessed with the stock market going higher. So I will be critical of anyone. I don't care if I voted for you or not. I'm going to be critical of you. And if you save the market again, all you're doing is going to cause more inflation and more pain for regular Americans later on. So I will not be a fan at that point at all. No selling in sight for the futures. Ah, yeah, they're there. They're just getting started. This is why I think minor pullbacks can come. President Trump was one of the most peaceful presidents of all time. So I highly doubt a war, civil unrest. That'll more be some kind of media craze, in my opinion. But we're not here to talk about politics, guys. That's not, we're just, once again, we're just guessing with politics too. Let's just see what they do. SPY hit 601 weekly expected move. Is there a scenario for a fake out where it pulls back to the gap fill before going up? Yes, there is. I'm kind of inclined to say no, but it's more if this 30-minute crosses, then we're probably going to go retest the 5. I think as you're so close to it, you're probably going to tag that in the next, I would say today, tomorrow, or by Wednesday, you're most likely going to see this tagged. I think the bigger pullback would come after we're here. So because we get data tomorrow, because we get data technically FOMC Wednesday, because we get data on Friday, those are the days where you want to see if before that data we're here. But it doesn't necessarily mean we have to correct. If that news is seen as good, this is where something crazy can happen. Pattern longer than our lifetime, those mainly. So when's that 100-year mark, Dylan? Tracking the movement based on the signals. Yep. Yeah. And now we have our key level that's right there. This is why this week is so good right now. Is because, yeah, you have a great 30-minute, you have a great 2-hour, you have a daily that's trying to maybe confirm up tomorrow, but you notice that we're getting kind of frothy here. But it doesn't mean, I mean, the thing, you built liquidity in here so long, so you can just see that keep going, all right? I think you will see at least a little 30-minute pullback. We're past our 100-year moment. Oh, God. Oh, God. No. Damn, that's some dust. Just sold all 200 shares of GME. It looks like weak to me now. So now we're locked in. $1 profit share. We'll buy back in if it breaks above 34. Yeah, and you have some decent signals to still pay attention to here. 30-minute makes a divergence. 2-hour curls up. If none of that happens, though, look at the daily. I mean, the daily's not looking good here. So you're hoping this is able to build up today. One thing to take into consideration is that is an inside trading bar. So anytime this 2 hour is able to curl up and go positive, that's when we'll look into it. USD as world reserve currency will likely fail in the next 20 years. Oh. Yeah. I mean, they've treated the dollar like ass ever since the debt system. Trudeau resigned. Man. The amount of Canadian politics I watched in the past year for fun because it's just people like pointing out the shady stuff that Trudeau does. Holy crap. Just look at his airplane, his private airplane bill. It's insane. Would you be selling puts on GME? No, I don't do anything to the put side with GME. I think I shorted it once and made like 100% or something because it was a long time ago. I have too much going on with GME right now in order for me to like take a position confidently for this to go down. This is like, if I short here, this is the best GME has looked in a long time. So if I short here, I'm kind of nervous that's going to go wrong, right? Because if I know there's a short seller problem in some way and the stock is trending up, that's very rough on shorts. So I'm not excited to do any kind of short position. War chest in their closing store is bullish for... Exactly, yeah, we've talked about the business a little bit before, Anthony. We've just been like, I've run my own business, and the thing that you do a lot in early stages or a revamp stage is you try to get rid of the excess. You try to get rid of the things that are pulling you down so that you can move forward easier. So it's important to, before you're looking at what you want to move forward to, you might want to get rid of the baggage. And I think that's something that can happen. Going to get accounts blown? They might. They might. Look at that thing. It's ripping. This is why, you know, even though I took profit here, I'm still holding other stuff, right? That was my way to stay risk managed. Was, hey, I'm going to hold on to Amazon a little bit longer, right? Because that has another week in the option expiration. I get scared and sell any stock soon. It immediately runs up after me. Say, yes, I probably sold too soon, but I just bought 25 contracts of February 14 calls at $34. Nice. I mean, a good amount of time there, short Fridays, right? What do I think of gold? Gold, I think, is interesting. I think gold should go up. I think gold should go up. If the thing you want to pay attention to, at least me, if I've ever traded gold, I'm always watching the dollar. If the dollar would confirm this signal down, well, the gold and the dollar are kind of like enemies, right, if you will. So if the dollar is going to go down, then gold's probably going to go up. That's how I see it. Try to think simply about it, but you've seen major gaps. I haven't traded gold. I tried to trade gold in here, but I haven't traded it a lot this year because of, I mean, at least since October, I haven't traded a lot. I mean, look at these gaps, man. You had daily divergence here, and then you just started to see crazy gaps like every day. It's just wild. If you go into shorter time frames, you look here, it's like you had island reversal like 4 times in here. That's crazy. And then if you include all these, it's like, is this going to be island reversal? Oh, it goes up here. So it's just, I think it's too hard, unless you're doing like futures probably. I just think there's simpler opportunities than gold here. But if you think about it this way, if gold went up due to inflation, I mean, wouldn't gold go down due to deflation? I don't know. I'm just trying to think critically there. But I'm not the biggest gold trader. I've only taken like maybe 10 GLD gold trades in my life. So you're long gold. Well, that makes sense with how the dollar looks, in my opinion. So I can get on that train. You know what I'm saying, Ben? Do I think it's the best opportunity right now? Well, if I'm someone who just likes to trade gold, maybe. I just think that for me, my little Amazon and stuff like that are nice little plays that I like. Bitcoin, I think, is going to go to a new all-time high. You know, we stated that, what, weeks ago? We stated that before December ended, we were looking for the 4-hour divergence. We were like, you break this level, bad things. But if we can get some buying pressure here, you actually can see good. And I think that we're turning out to be a little bit right. So what we're looking for here is, do we make another move higher and fail? Do we make this move higher, consolidate, and head to the upside again? Right? I think you're going to see a failure somewhere up in here, right? It's a big area, but this is the measured move for way back in the day, looking at like monthly charts. So we could end up at 129K, but I'm thinking we might run into problems here. So it would mean to me, hey, I like this push from Bitcoin. We saw the 4-hour divergence that kind of showed it to us. The daily's proving that. Awesome. All of it looks good. Now you're heading to the upside. You are very likely to test the high and take it out. And we'll watch out for the divergence point. I mean, look at the RSI. Bam. So if this violates this divergence point, it tells me more than you think, right? It says, hey, there could still be weakness there, but this could be just another ABC type push, right? This could just be a retest, So, and it seems to be altcoin season. Oh, we had some drawings up for Ethereum, very obvious with the double top, right? Ethereum actually had the higher low for the 4-hour and then curled up, but Ethereum looks pretty good here as well. And you're retaking where you broke down from here. So these wicks in here, you're taking those back. That's great. Then you got to get through this. Then you got to get through this, and you're at, bam, some good pricing. And that's it. We're chilling watching it. Ripple. Actually, I haven't looked at XRP in a little bit, so hold on. Did that curl up on the daily? Starting to. Oh, that looks pretty good. This looks more consolidative than the other ones. Like, this looks way more consolidative. I like that. And then you didn't even get the blip like Bitcoin did. So, yeah, I think this is very likely to test these levels, maybe go higher. I know I'm on the market cap, but I don't mind Ripple. You got to be paying attention to 2-hour charts and 4-hour charts, though. Nike, probably bad move, but it's Nike. Let's go check. Oh, let's not say that. Daily, you're like, I mean, not bad. Not bad timing, just no confirmation yet. I like this. There's always a chance you're cup and handling, right? So watch out for that. Maybe you go and see a reaction to 77.46 and it just fails. We'll see. I don't mind this. I just wish the double bottom was confirming in some way. Do you have a signal that tells you that this could go up? Not necessarily. So there could be some time here. There could be some time here. That means this could go like, and then I'd feel more comfortable, right? We notice in the past, and you're seeing this a lot in the last year's market, is you're seeing a good signal. That good signal fails, but then it holds the first divergence point, right? It gets rid of the second one, so you're aware that can keep going, but then it gets rid of this, and it just starts to rip. So that's why, I mean, I think we had to do that. I had to do that with the Qs just now on the 30-minute chart. So this here said 75 was a good time, and then look how you make a 2-hour divergence at the top. Bam, bam. Then you head down. So this is daily divergence being formed. I just want to see if the I just want to see if the selling pressure's done, and I don't really see that, right? But we are at levels that you reacted from last time on the MACD, so we'll see. But I'd be aware of this. But I don't mind it, especially if that daily can curl up for you. I do not mind that at all. That would mean an uptrend move into our zone here towards the beginning of, what, 82.72? Kind of like it. I don't mind it. I just say got in a little early, in my opinion, right? I'd be waiting for a little bit better signals, but hey, if you know your risk, if you manage your position size, if you're doing something early, you can feel pretty comfortable there, so. Let's look at a 5. I kind of want to just look at things a little bit tighter here for fun. There you go. Yeah, this is getting pretty. That's squeeze behavior for a 5-minute. So where your MACD is blatantly turning down, but you're just seeing this trickling up in price. So believe it or not, you are squeezing on the 5-minute, like proven. Usually you prove a squeeze after the fact. That's why you just want to be confident in your base. Usually you can prove a squeeze after the fact. It's very hard to get into a squeeze while it's squeezing. It's very hard to get to short a squeeze while it's squeezing. SoFi, we do have weekly expected moves for. We do have weekly expected moves for this guy. SoFi right now, not a very stable base. We can even try to do this. Yeah, see, it's not even stable with extended, so very likely that this could fail, actually. More likely than others. So I'd be watching if that 30-minute rolls. It is in no way very, very strong yet. Yeah, it never seems to get too much strength from that MACD down there, but yeah, it's a very good move. What you're looking for here is it to stabilize in some way, right? It got to a key level. Can it hold itself up if this shows some sellers come back in? Or can it just burst through it? That'd be great. But if this crosses, you got to be careful. It could go down for a complete double dip. But I think what you're hoping for something like SoFi, if you want it to go up, I think you're hoping for a higher low. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that, Ben. 602 today. It can, yeah. You never want to think something can't happen. But it is more likely to probably see a pullback in some way. Even if it's something like, you see how this was squeezing up and we finally see that drop and then it curls back up on the 5-minute to get there. That's kind of what I think might happen here is we keep squeezing, then we see some kind of random drop, and then it goes back up to there. But then, once again, it's this level again. It's the same level, so we have to understand. It doesn't have to behave the same. You're not expecting the same, right? This is way different than the last time we tagged this. We have a strong base now. So what you could see is a retest down to here. All right? So even if we do all this exactly the same, right? Something like, awesome. I would not be expecting that anymore unless we curl over bigger time frames. I would be more inclined to think, hey, if we go, then you see a 30-minute pullback, and then you retest, and you see if that retest holds. That would be a good sign. Well, if you're thinking that, Georgie, then this is where that would happen too. So it might time out to be exactly the same time as you're thinking. Yeah, there's a huge difference between this move to here and a drop to this entire move here to a drop. You built a lot, so you'd have to fight through all this again, right? This is going to be a fight now to get through, so unless you see some kind of black swan, I highly doubt that happens. No pullback till then, in my opinion. Well, if the signals remain bullish, then what do I remain? Bullish, right? Nothing curls down. What do? I sit and I watch no matter how crazy it might get, and I watch, and then I watch things hit their monthly expected moves, and I go, hey, thank you, right? Thank you to the Qs for my trade today. I was able to take profit, feel very comfortable in other positions now that I've taken profit. Feel good. Let's say about today's move being a fake, and then we go back to no man's land. If no man's land's up here, because you have price action below you all the time down here. In my opinion, you know, no man's land would be up here. You don't have price action up there. So I'm trying to understand exactly what you're saying, but if you think this is a fake, then you should be seeing signals of that. We should see volatility be able to turn up here. We should see some forms of weakness somewhere, right? Let's click through these. 5 minute might show it actually for Apple. You got a divergence there. Tesla, divergence there. 30 minutes starting to roll there. Amazon, divergence on the RSI, not the best on the MACD. Nvidia, just straight down. I wouldn't call that some good stuff. AMD, probably not. Meta, getting very close, but still good. Meta, gosh, it's had some great positivity there. Nothing really for Microsoft. Google, potential for a double top here. So you're in an area where you could reload. And it makes sense, right? We're going to want to build up maybe to break through these, right? The Qs might want to build up in those areas to break through. Ooh, I'm not shorting this though, guys. Like, just because I showed you some stuff on a 5 minute chart, don't think that I'm making that mistake. You guys want to know why I never short when I think it's a short squeeze? Because the last time I shorted in a short squeeze, I lost a ton of money. That was years ago. Actually, I think it was during the bear market. I think I just messed up. It happened to be a higher squeeze than I thought. I ignored the fact that it was a 2-hour divergence and we were going to see a daily move to the upside. Right? That bear market, this thing I think ripped me apart. Might have been this one. I think it was this one because it was longer. Tried to start shorting in these areas, made another upward move. I just didn't take into consideration the fact that there's daily divergence at the low. And we built liquidity longer. And then that ended up being a bigger move, right? To actually test the 200. I thought it was going to be something like this again. Maybe go match that and fall again. But I went with what I thought, not what I'm supposed to do. And I tried to take little 30-minute signals saying, oh yeah, this is going to collapse again. And then at the high, it just made like a 2-hour divergence, I'm pretty sure. Like if I was just more calm with it, right? More calm with it, not, you know, thinking I'm a genius or something. That's why we don't get cocky. If you notice at the high, you just have a very simple 2-hour divergence. Flat on the RSI, downward for the MACD. And it was very simple. But I tried to do it early up in here just because there was liquidity. Like that was just a silly decision. So I completely changed. And now I'm better for it, right? Mistakes can make us better. He's got to be down big. I am sure by this point he's managed that position in some way. He might have hedged by buying or something like that too. You guys, they're pretty smart people. So probably look at coffee. Do you just look at coffee futures? If you have a ticker for it, I like it. I just know commodities, certain people look at different things, so I don't look at coffee too often. But coffee is a great one to look at for, because coffee is what everyone uses. Pretty good for inflation. What does the double top from Google mean for the rest of the week? For the rest of the week, you're seeing this as a double top? Like 5 minute double top? Yeah. This is not. If you see a 5 minute double top, it's a 5 minute double top. You know what I'm saying? That means, hey, we could possibly see a little 30-minute pullback. Like I don't even think that's what's the most likely thing here, right? The daily confirms up. You don't have a lot of room, but you could see a sporadic move to the upside. Like you were wondering what stocks are saying, hey, a big upward move in just a few days would be a lot. It'd be kind of crazy. Google's kind of suggesting that. I do not see any big reasons. Like I said, don't convince yourself that this has to be some massive drop. If you're really measuring out this double top, where do you end up? Well, maybe down to 195 again. And that would just be a little 30-minute pullback to maybe retest the breakout area and here towards this gap. So I'm not in any way convinced that this is going to cause big turbulence in the market. Now, one thing I would point out, by the way, is Apple coming down like this. If it's not able to go to a new high, that's kind of huge. Because Apple back in here downturned, right? We saw the weekly double top. From this area, Apple never went and made a new high while the market did. Apple's a very important stock. It is my most traded stock. So Apple can actually show us direction before. Notice that this run did not take back the high. But notice how far down it was. So this is where it's different. We don't have the best divergence. We just have it on the RSI. So is that going to happen again? Well, I'm just pointing it out. If Apple continues to suffer and the market goes to all-time highs, I'd really be watching out for some big drops. And maybe Apple to actually start going up, right? Apple to actually start going up to help the market stay afloat. That happens, right? If Apple becomes an opportunity for some buyers, they can buy it down towards 236.36. So, but Apple can give us some hints of direction. Exactly, Ben. And if a big company like that is suffering in some way, do you think that Apple is going to be happy or sad if they can't use the cheap labor overseas anymore? Right? If they're going to get tariffed in some way and this and that. Well, the crazy part is, technically, if we wanted to make an iPhone here, I think it would cost like $2,000 to $2,400 per iPhone. That's, I don't know if they would really make too many sales there. So this is short time frame, doesn't matter for the remainder of the week. It can, but you want to see it proven on bigger time frames than a 5-minute, right? If the 30-minute crosses, you're more inclined to think, if the 30-minute crosses before we get to here, it just randomly crosses down like this, you're pretty inclined to think, yeah, we're going to retest the 5 before making that move to the weekly. But has that happened? No. Do I have signals like that for the SPY right now? No. So it's more likely we're going to see something like this over here, right here, and then we'll see if that can hold up better, right? I think this is how you scare people, right? Think of this mentally, right? People see this point again, and then they see a big drop. What do you think they do? They go short, 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 short. That thing's going to go down to here. No, it's more likely that you're going to see that be a trick. Or you just keep squeezing and people keep trying to short it, right? People might just pile on shorts here and they could just be wrong and that could gap you up. So I am not at all inclined to short. Oh, hey, oh shoot, I'm supposed to be, I'm a little bit over my time here. Are you making fun of me? Never. If I make fun of you in the chat, which I don't think I was, but if I do, it's all love, baby. Hopefully everyone's crushing this market, hopefully. Yeah, you have to, and that's pretty good too, Ben. Ben's pointing out some good stuff today. It's like, what was it? Do you remember this? Did I have positions here? Yeah, maybe I had some stock, but did I have like positions here for upside or downside or whatever? No, I was just waiting to see what would happen. And then look, a trade set up like a few days later, a couple days later, trade set up. You know, I don't have to be in those times. I don't have to be the little mouse around the wheel that they're going to use my liquidity to do something with. I can just take my risk out, right? There might be a discussion of opportunity cost, right? But what's the opportunity cost for my risk if I'm wrong, right? The opportunity cost could be negative, could be positive. I don't know what that data is. I don't know what the reaction to the data is. So why don't I just wait for that reaction? So most likely, as we touch these type of levels, if my other trades, the goals are met by the time we're at this weekly expected move, then I'm going to be out of those plays. I'm like I'd say I'm about halfway there. Halfway there for the goal. Need Amazon to get to like 230. 230 would probably do it. And there you go. You're starting to roll a little bit. No 5-minute weakness here. IWM, are you showing it? Yeah, IWM trying to make that next move higher. 228, pretty solid. DIA, we haven't looked at that. See, like DIA is showing you something. It's showing you, hey, I might want to reload at the 5. It's showing you the potential for that. But has it confirmed? No, it's just confirming up and you're in a short squeeze, most likely at the beginning stages, but IWM trying to get the next curl up. Qs look like they want to curl down a little bit. They curled down for a little bit here and then spiked right back up, so I'm just chilling. Unless I see a 30-minute roll. Fun. I'm gonna look at other charts for just a bit. I'm gonna pull up volatility just to make sure we're keeping our eye on that. 30-minute trying to actually, let me see here. We did violate the divergence point, so any move higher from volatility, it doesn't have to curl up a 2-hour as easily. Amazon just moving sideways actually on the 5-minute, that's good. All right, we're chilling. See, all this has to do now is go, okay, one more push, right? All it has to do now is go, all right, one more push. And then we'll see if we get that 30-minute pullback. Or do you see something crazy? Because it's early in the week, if it's early in the week, you're inclined to think, hey, 68% zone, right? You would more so see the run start to get out of this at the end of the week. Right, we would see this kind of go up like that, then pull down, then curl up, and then look, it's more towards, you know, Friday, because technically, I mean, I know the the charts are still saying it's open for Thursday, but we know it's closed, so. If you had all 5 days, this could play out totally differently. That's what's crazy. Hey, Wolf. What's Wolf doing? Whoa, Wolf, nice job. Come on, Wolfie. See, even Wolf's up towards the weekly. Like, it's behaving just like the, if you would, the SPY and the Qs right now. Or IWM itself. So SPY is able to turn down a little bit. Qs look like they're a little bit more wanting to go sideways. All right, guys, I got like 5 minutes, and I really do have to hop off. Friday gonna be a red day? Depends. We'll see what happens throughout the week, and then we'll talk about it again a little bit closer to Friday after we see how this shapes up. Like, look at the MACD as well, going even higher than the last time. And now you remember you have that strong base there, so. Have a good day, mate. Wait, where are you from, Ben? I might have asked already. Where are you from? I think we've probably gone through that before, but Australia? Nice. I guess it's like nighttime for you. I was about to say, did you have brekkie yet? But no. You most likely, it's probably late, isn't it? I thought like our time was like, wait, is it like 2 a.m. or something over there? 3 a.m.? I don't remember. But thanks for whatever time it is. Thank you guys, wherever you're at. I'm trading all the time. I barely sleep. Hey, I hope you're enjoying it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you're doing it that much, I hope you enjoy it. We need jolts and non-farm to come in bad to keep going higher. Possible. Yeah. I just want to see the reaction for the market. I think more people are inclined to pay attention to inflation than jobs data, which is just crazy to me. That's just crazy to me. And I guess that makes sense for it to be crazy to me because I think people pay attention to the wrong things. I think they should be watching for recession and unemployment. And I think they should be, you know, HGX is starting to rip higher. That's great. Made a base, right? But look where that base on the daily is taking place. Uh-oh. It's not very good, but it's like people aren't paying attention to things underneath. How those yields have affected the housing market. How the yields most likely can't go higher. So what's the only other way to fight inflation if the yields going higher is going to cause some kind of collapse? Well, it would be recession, which will cause a collapse in markets as well. So it's just, you're like we've said for the past year, the Fed's stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I think it becomes more relevant every day. It's too. I thought traders don't need any sleep. Do you see me? I didn't get sleep that one night and I ended up getting a little sick. At least for that day. Thankfully, I wasn't like sick. I was just like, I can't function. The trader body doesn't need sleep. We just need coffee. God, I wish I could get a coffee spot, like a really good coffee to get you guys like 20% off some good coffee. Like that sounds good. I'd rather do that than do what the promotions that people want me to, like the sponsors that actually contact me. I don't have a job, this is all I do. Well, then you have a job, right? Hopefully you're making some money off it. Enough to be considered a job. But if you can't, then there's always a benefit to having a job, right? I always work multiple jobs just because I can always add more money. If I have time, because I'm a position trader, that's why I chose more to be on the position side. I was like, I'm not the best at 0DTE. I'm not the best at day trading. So let me just do position trading. That way I have time throughout my day to do other things. And then I can add that money into my portfolio, which is nice. Or I can pay bills with my other money. That way I never have to touch my money in the market, which is awesome. But hey, I respect it either way, Ben. Just note, I think it's you can prove it real quick how your brain reacts to lack of sleep. Okay? You can prove it with video games pretty quick. If you play any kind of video game and you can set a high score or, you know, track your stats in some way, and then if you don't get any sleep for say a day and then you try to play that video game, see how you perform. And then you'll find out very quickly if your brain is affected by your sleep. Why is this flying so high today after Friday? No, I don't think there's any news. They're going to tell you probably there's news. But why is it reacting up today? Because we made a stable base and short squeeze was the most likely thing because people were shorting at the lows. I might sell my organs. Don't do that, please. It's leverage for double top, so in 2 hours I will. There you go. Yeah, I'm not someone who tries to do news-driven. I just look at signals and then the news usually follows. Oh, you wanted to see DJT? I just didn't see it. Sorry about that. I'm not ignoring it now. It looks good, right? You don't mind this. You even had a 30-minute at the bottom, right? We pointed this out last week, but just for a brief moment on the live show. But you can see here, 30-minute move higher, ends up turning up. Can the daily turn up? That's going to be the big deal because you technically have tried to confirm this as a lower high, but you're not negative. So if that positive trend wants to continue, hey, this could be the start of something. So now you're looking for that daily to cross up. 2 hour already confirmed. Positive move. If I'm not in it, I'm hoping for a 30-minute pullback, right? I'm not trying to YOLO in right now. I'm trying to say, hey, can this do that for a second? Can this do this? Maybe retest the 5, then curl up? Can I find an opportunity before that daily crosses? You know what I'm saying, Maurice? You doing that passive aggressive shit, Maurice. Come on, man. Love you being here, Maurice. I just didn't see it. I try to read chat as good as I can. Sometimes it just moves. Well, it's hard to trade news because someone always knows before you do. We're on DJT. We're on DJT, right? Do you know the orders that were being filled before the assassination attempt? There were big funds, some big players out there who knew something was going to happen. You saw huge shorts come in. And guess what? That little kid missed. So they missed too. They lost some money that time. But that's just what you need to take into consideration. You have to understand, big players know things before you do. Yeah, insiders. Why do you think people pay attention to insiders? Insiders know things before you do, right? No, that's great, Maurice. It's fine. Yeah, keep asking, you know, till I see it. That's perfectly fine with me, buddy. Know what they know. I actually brought it up. If you go find the DJT video from that weekend or something, I think we even shouted out who did it. Weirdly enough, I think they were the same companies that took a big short position a week before the COVID crash happened. So just know. But once again, it's just buying and selling. It's just the charts will tell you. That's why I like charts better, right? Because if they're putting those positions, if they are selling stock, if they are buying stock, you're going to see that proven when it looks really risky, right? This looked really risky to a lot of people. But we saw the buying pressure the last time. We saw the buying pressure here. We saw the buying pressure here. And then that was enough to say, okay, the job might be done here because now all the signals are saying you have enough. Okay, looks like it's done for now. Of course, Maurice, thank you for saying thank you. Appreciate you. But it's not to be, there could not even be corruption in it, right? It could just be big players are selling before an event and they cause algos to get involved, you know, and then those algos pick it up and they go, oh, okay, we got to sell here. You may have stumbled on a real conspiracy. It's not a stumble, it's just how it happens, right? It's just like we found that V-shape in May 31st, right? We saw how we were most likely getting dark pool activity. And there actually were people seriously buying. How did we find that? Well, we found that the PCC was really high at that time and the dollar was dropping off dramatically. Which just convinced me. I was like, well, if we're about to see a downturn, a dramatic downturn here, like people are saying, even more than right now, then why has the dollar been dropping for 4 days? It was dropping for like 4 days up until that point. And I go, you could see, literally, you can go to the live show on that day, and you'll hear me say, you could see a massive V-shape in the last hour of the day. And then we got a massive V-shape in the last hour of the day. That's pretty awesome. It's just to say, money moves markets, so pay attention when you see a big money move. That's why we watch momentum. It's pretty cool. Sound, let's go look at this. I've seen this in the chat a few times. You don't really like this as it hasn't made a very strong base and you have daily divergence above you, I assume. Okay, it's just on the RSI and it's very flat. So you're very likely to make another upward move actually for Sound if you can base this out. You really wanted the 2 hour to curl up? Hey, the 30-minute might make a stronger base first, right? So this went positive. It's still there. Now, would I be holding this right now? I probably wouldn't, me personally. I would say, hey, there's risk, we're below the 5, there's risk it could just drop off. But if this would set up, that's where the opportunity would be, right? Kind of like we just treated the market. Does that have to be a huge turnaround? No, that could just be another 2 hour pop, so you want to be watching that one pretty closely. This could be, yeah, it could be. Do we have signals that it is? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You don't really have any signal that it is. Right? This one, you technically didn't have the best signals that it was. But we paid attention to weakness. The only difference is here, the weekly expected move was right there. Now the weekly expected move is here. So really we should have some more time to pay attention. The way that we know to really manage risk though is going to be if that 30-minute crosses. But you guys, I do have to head out. I'm going over the time that I'm supposed to stop at again. So really appreciate you guys being here today. I think we had a great chat, honestly. Some great questions coming out there. We're paying attention. It seems like for the time being, we're pretty correct here. We still got to wait for that daily to be able to confirm up for the SPY, for the Qs, even for IWM, even for DIA. We got to be watching all that stuff. So we do have some more time to pay attention to. Looks like we're beaming directly towards the weekly expected move. We'll see what happens from there. So we should not have too much fear at all. Even if the 30-minute crosses down, we don't have to be that scared. We're above a daily expected move, but I would just say if this crosses down, you could see that react down to the 5, right? This is still our 68% zone for the day, but it does look like a squeeze to me, and very hard to short a short squeeze, just so you're aware. Thank you guys so much for joining today. Once again, if you guys want to, learn anything that we're talking about on this channel, if you're still struggling to kind of catch what we're talking about, hey, those courses are down there in the description, and the full technical analysis course will be really, really great. Like, that's the one that will really help you out in this type of behavior. So swing trading's great. It can get you into moves just a little bit later, and if you can really understand this, that is where you really unlock yourself as a trader. So I highly encourage the full technical analysis course down there in the description. You can literally learn every reason why we were not scared of this, every reason why we were bullish here, and then bearish here, and then bullish here, and now getting towards, hey, we might have to be bearish here. Not necessarily bearish, but pullback this time, because we have made this as a strong base, and you'll understand that better with that link down in the description. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. Thank you, Nick, for shouting out. Hey, great squeeze call so far. We'll see if it can continue, but thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great, great, great day. Stay alert, right? If you have some trades that don't have much time to expiration, where are you heading right now? Well, as high up as the options market sees you to go with a 68% confidence. So it does mean this area up here is where you should start to maybe think about taking the foot off the gas, but you make your own decisions. If you want to YOLO for some kind of massive squeeze, hey man, I'm going to wish you good luck anyway. All right, guys, peace out. Have a good day. Later.